Hello, my dears. Traditionally, traditionally, we're starting our broadcast from the sound check and video check. If you see me and hear me good, just write pluses in the chat. First pluses, Kim C. I'm Jennifer Berling plus plus, Jennifer plus plus. Okay, I'm understand that you see me and hear me good. Is the beautiful. So I'm just to check at the chat before. uh, I see that you like pictures what I choose. So yes, you get some context behind the pictures. Some part of the my report for today will be about that pictures and about other cases what's happened in Ukraine with that shit. I will not give a details right now, but we will discuss about a little later. And aka Croat 74, your sponsor, saying hello to the new sponsor. I just really I don't know, I don't understand totally how working this sponsor function. I will read and I will understand what's how we can do with that sponsors information. Yes, but so is the special caller in the chat, I think. But later we will understand what's going on with this sponsors function, because we have 3 or 4 sponsors at this moment. I think that today I will start from the good news, and I can announce this good news only thanks for you, my dears. All packages what we order for Anatoly and for the kids on a previous broadcast, we earn money for them. They are coming. All packages in my car, you saw some parts of that packages on my shirt. Wishes I'm right on the boxes. I have to show it. And tomorrow, at morning, I think it depends when I wake up after broadcast. I will go to the village Federki, and I gave all gifts what you sent for the kids. I can't wait really, because Anatoly said that for kids it will be surprise. He don't tell to them that we will buy it on only trainer, only his mentor, and all this information. So yes, tomorrow I make a lot of reports. Maybe it will be separate video. Maybe I make some video about environment where they make training. Maybe I record some content about the village. But yeah, tomorrow it will be tomorrow. Today we have a broadcast, and topic who disrupt the mobilization is the separate topic of for discuss, and we will discuss about this. Yeah, but I am see that numbers of the subscribers increasing and increasing. Today I'm analyze news, couple source of news about Ukraine and about world. I have maybe 50-50 good and not good news. Yes, and I think that we can start reading. Glad to see you, my dears. Hello all. I will count all. Safedes, Jennifer Berlin, Borst, Will, Miriam, Kim C, Iris, Jen Ray, aka Croat 74, Sam V, everyone who is coming on a broadcast, you are welcome. Good to see you here, and we are starting. So I forgot about very good tradition. What I do on a flashback is the numbers of the Russian losers. At this moment, we can see that the number of the oriented numbers of the Russian losers is the 663 6,000 of the personnel of the Russian armed forces. When you reading these pictures, when you watch it, you must understand that is the oriented Russian wounded, and you must understand, my dears, from how Ministry of Defense making these numbers. Every day, all hello Mark Garcia, hello Nikki Hill. Every day, all units on a front line, hello Borstville, all units on a front line reported about result of the day. They make a summary about the day, what they do, how many they kills, how many they destroyed, or etc. And by this report, general staff can make pictures like this, as you see on your screen at this moment. And you must understand that in a general number of this 66,666,000 is the not died Russians, loses, it's include 2 wounded Russians. For example, how we understand that Russians are wounded? If our special reconnaissance unit listening Russian radio communication or something like this, they are listening that they have some wounded or something like this, and they are marking his result. And it's oriented number, because, for example, if our artillery is working but it's not wasn't recorded by drone and we destroy something, this number of the destroyed vehicles or soldiers, it's not included in this number. Is only accepted number of the wounded or killed Russians. And the same about armored vehicle, about tanks, about AFV and other. Yes, and I think we so long time doesn't watch this number really, and I think that no one of my broadcasts have not this information, but I think that when we will make a news broadcast, we will show it. And yes, what we have at this moment is the not so good news, but what we see on the front line at this moment, the commandant of the Russian troops has ordered a high rate of mechanized offensive operations in Ukraine to achieve tactical success before the formation of seasonal mood. According to ICV, the Russian offensive in the Donetsk region is likely to culminate in the close months, in the coming months. So, yeah, and this news is the real news. We can see that in a previous year, in 2 years ago, before winter, Russian do very, very big offensive or very, very big speed of offensive. And, at this moment, some military experts, some media can manipulate this because summit of the peace so soon. And a lot of people start talking about peace in Ukraine or something like this. Somebody, it's only one version. It's only one version, but it cannot be totally true that on this summit of peace can be finish of war. I don't think that it is, but some experts, some media talk that Russian try to occupy as more territory as it possible, for they have a strange position on this summit. But as a normal military officer, I understand that before winter, biggest temp, biggest speed of offensive, it's okay, because in November, when rain will start, biggest part of the cars, biggest part of the AFV, APC will have a more worst environment to the moving, and is the really, if you walking on a mud on the ground, it's difficult to walk really, and we understand that Russian do this intensive offensive, because winter is coming, and Russian have a result on a Donbas region in a Krasny Yar, Krutый Yar, and Mykolаivka. This is his result. It on this picture, it's result of his attack for the last days. Is the really fast and really good movement of the Russian forces. Is the bad for the other side, but we must understand that Russian moving really fastly, and I don't know how long this offensive will be. By some prognosis, it's months or 2 months, to November, to December. But we will wait, we will check, and we can only support our guys. Those people who are not on a front line can do only support for these guys, for the holding territory, for the more successful defense, because I understand that when Russians do this offensive, they don't use a typical group of forces. They use a mechanized brigade, they use prisoners, Storm Z, and other units for the mid-green result, and now we understand how difficult situation on a Donbas region on a front line now. And about our latest success is the Kursk region. Some expert and from ACV2, but in my opinion, as you know, opinion of the ICV, it's for me, it's not a super true, and I'm just checking and try to analyze all reports what's right ICV, but by his report, by his analytics, and United States officials estimate that Ukraine will be able to hold territory in Russia's Kursk region for at least several months, and maybe longer. We saw situation that our forces can be surrounded by on a border territory, but we must understand that we are not so deep in Russia, and it's only 30 kilometers. It's not too deep, but it's dangerous. Ukrainian group of forces, it's no more than 10,000 soldiers, if I don't mistake, only a couple of brigade, and I think that Ukrainian High Com, they can't allow, they don't give a opportunity to surround us, but we must understand that on a Kursk region, on a Russian territory, Russian to start offensive activities, they try to do counter-offensive for I forgot how the name for took back his territory. Yes, and now situation in the Kursk region not so easy how it was 2 weeks ago, for example. Yes, and I think that guys who's now holding territory in Kursk is the real heroes, because if we're talking about strange position on summits or something like this, we must understand that once of the position, one of position of the Ukraine strange position is the Russian territory under Ukrainian control. But is the at this moment at that in I'm sorry, I'm so long time doesn't talk with you, and I'm starting to forget English. But yes, but for that time, when Ukraine start Kursk offensive, was a very, very good demonstration for the whole world and for the Russia that we can not only disengage it on a Donbas territory, because really on a Donbas we doesn't have a very big success for the last time, and we showed that we can offense, we can attack, and we can and we do can control his territory. And during peace summit, if Russia will come, Ukraine will have position that we do control your territory. You know, for the nuclear country, is the shame that the small army as Ukrainian is the really, if we consider порівняємо, I'm sorry, I will use translator. Wait a moment. If we compare Ukrainian and Russian army, Ukrainian and Russian groups of the troops, we will see that Russian group bigger, Russian army bigger, but Ukrainian do successful offensive on the Russian territory is the shame for Russian, and we do must understand it. So yes, and again we will talk about diplomatic area. You know who this man from? Not me. This man from where this guy? I'm waiting in a chat. Who this? When you writing who this guy? I will say hello to the China Coldwell. And again, I'm started to be ambassador of Red Bull. Hello, Anna. I went in a chat. You know who this guy or doesn't know? No, Sammy, it's not old Harry Potter. But this guy living in a in a country from Tales, you know. Yes, this guy from the Hungary, Iris, you are right. Borst will not is not a Serbian leader. Yet this guy from the Hungary is their Hungary diplomats, and thanks for this guy. Parliament representatives of the European Union member states failed to agree on the extension of sanctions on frozen Russian assets from 6 months to 3 years. Hungary, which holds the European Union Council presidency, did not put it up for discussion. Again, Hungary voted against Ukraine. Again, Hungary on a European Union officials level showing that they follow by Russian interest. I don't know. Maybe some guys from the European Union need a strong dicks for shut pro-Russian mouth in on his official level, because we understand we see that only one country who voted against pro-Ukrainian reforms, against anti-Russian reforms and sanctions, it's the Hungary. We can see that that only Hungary following by Russian interest, but only his vote can block all schemes for suppressing Russian. But now we have what we have. Yes, Iris, it's Orban's body. SMV Orban is also an national. His face is so punchable. Yes, but not today. Now they untouchable. Yeah, but we understand that in the European Union and in the NATO we had a sleeping Russian against agent. You know, we understand it. Same shit was in Ukraine, you know. Pro-Russian political party like OPZZ, all smart people understand it. That pro-Russian political party is the shit for Ukraine. They are following Russian interests too, like these Hungarian guys. And what we have as result? Before full-scale invasion, pro-Russian party, they ruined Ukrainian reforms and Ukrainian decision. And now when full-scale invasion is started, some part leave they run away from Ukraine because they understand that they do a lot of shit against Ukraine. They reported about Russian forces. They sit in a Ukrainian government and working by Russian interests, and they understand that people angry and people can punish him and they just run away. But other part, they still sitting in Ukraine and still do some shit. Yes, they made a new part, but Ukraine is the democratic country and we doesn't just drop them in jail. It is the sad and more saddest thing that Ukrainians vote for these people on an election, on a government election, on a president election. They give his voters for these pro-Russian bastards. I don't know, maybe don't have enough education for analyze, for thinking about his future or something like this. Maybe they voted for money or for the food. I don't know. But people voting for pro-Russians agents, and as a result, we still have Russian influence on a Ukrainian territory. This case with the charge, pro-Russian charge, RPC, and now defenders of the RPC, they are victims. They say that they are victims because they run away from Ukraine because government and police and other structures push them, but they push his because they are stupid pro-Russian agents and they try to protect pro-Russian charge, occupation charge. That priest from that church, they made a survival in his charge. They made a survival packs for the Russian forces. In a hostile pro-Russian priest, they first go to say welcome for the Russian occupation soldiers. And what's reaction? They waited from the Ukrainian people. They waited that we will say, yeah, okay, it was a bad times, it was a difficult times, you do it for the survival. No, it's the bullshit. They was ready for the occupation. They was prepared to the occupation. They were prepared to the occupation and they were happy when the Russian is coming on the Ukraine territory. But now they sit in quiet and wait for what? They again waiting for the Russian forces. Again. And what we do? We do nothing, because we can't drop some pro-Russian agents in a jail because uh, we doesn't have enough evidence and proof. Yeah, it is the sad, but is the principle of democratic. And when you saw one moment is the short technical pause. I'm sorry, I'm again here. Miriam, our new sponsor, you are welcome. Thanks for support the channel. Hey, Mark, a little louder, please. Maybe I will be more close to the microphone. Especially for you, Mark. Sound check. I hope you hear me good. So just write your opinion about that case. What I told. Because in my opinion, we must punish them. We must investigate them. We must control them. Because it's our future. If the Russian agents will sit in Ukraine, they will do same shit as they do during first day of invasion. They will do same shit, and it's sad. Yeah, it's sad, but it's not all news. Yeah, we will. I hope we finish with them, but not so soon because it's a very very long procedure. Government must agree a lot of laws, but as I told, pro-Russian parties voted against anti-Russian laws. I don't know. Is the some shit going on a high government? And yes, about government. So yes, is the two not good news, but independence Ukrainian journalists, Ukrainska Pravda, Ukrainian True, they start understand, they find facts that presidential communication advisor Dmytro Litvin is lifting bans on the armed forces and officials from talking to the Ukrainska Pravda journalist. Is the some kind of the journalist of the suppress of the independent journalist. Yeah, we saw that case when SBU tried to make shit about Bihus info. It's to independent journalist agency. I don't know. In a country with war, free journalists must be, because in Ukraine we have a kicking democracy. If people sit quietly, doesn't talk, doesn't make pretension to the government, doesn't have idea to the government, don't talk with government, don't make a protest, government do nothing. Yeah, it's sad, but at this moment we have this situation. And thanks for the independence journalist. Thanks for the independence journalist agencies, thanks for the free press. Now we have normal information about situation on the front line, about situation in Ukraine in general, because if we will listening only officials, it's not a good idea, I think, because it's officials. They just are talking by the government narratives, and I don't know. we will not go in by the Russian way, because in Russia they totally destroyed all independence journalists, and what we have in Russia, only that military correspondent who sitting on the front line, make a photo of the occupants and talking that victory so soon, we liberate Ukraine and other shit. No, Ukraine not shitty country as Russia, and we must understand that free journalists, free press, it's one of the part of free country. And if government will suppress our journalists, it's making problem only for government, because people understand it. We are not slave nation, and the government must understand that they will have some problem if they suppress journalists. Same was with the Bihus, and same will be with the Ukrainska Pravda. I hope that all will be good, and after this noise in the media about journalists suppress, they stop to do it. Hey, Sammy, welcome on the sponsor levels. Do thanks for support. But my dears, if you wanna support our channel, you can do this by PayPal, because I don't know how working YouTube payment system. I don't know how it works really. It's all your support on YouTube just collected and collected and collected. I don't know what's to do with this. I don't know for what I'm turning on this sponsor function, but I will do something with this, I hope. And yes, I forgot Q&A function. We'll turn it off to turn it on. Give your questions in a Q&A function on a chat, and when we're done with all news, what I find for you, I will answer on your question if you give me a question. If you don't give me a question, I will cry all night. And now time to check the chat. Safedes, I understand that you are Ukrainian music lovers. I heard song "Тримаем посадку." Thanks. Miriam, what you mean when you're talking about Maidan? I'm a little not understand. You asking about journalists suppressed? Not, it's not about Maidan. It's about this moment. About this moment, because in Maidan times, Yanukovych doesn't have this advisor. Safradas, you are talking about United States government or about Ukrainian? Because if you're talking about Ukrainian, you are right. But I don't. Me as Ukrainian, I have no so many interest to the United States political process. You know, it's for me is the separated country, and Americans can do what they do. If they stop support, it will be bad, but they stop support, it's his decision. Yes, but at this moment we understand that all agreements, what was made 20 years ago, what was made 30 years ago, it's nothing, because uh, all promises of the governments to country, all the promises of the whole world to the Ukraine when they destroy his nuclear reserve is it's nothing, you know. And now we understand that influence on other country, on Ukraine now, is the very high, but inside political process in that country, it's only his political process and it's decision of his civilians. We are choose some interest government, and now we must fix it. If American do something like this, it's only he's busy. We don't influence on that. Ah, when I'm talking about yes, and it's I think that some people can in this accident. Brandon Mitchell, I'm here to troll. I'm glad to see you. Thanks that you're coming for troll. Please write something like a Russian. Победа Z or something like this. I waited for you from you. But yes, when you talked about Maidan and Maidan influence on the media, only thanks for the media, for the free media, we have that result as we have at this moment, because media's under government control, they just turning on Lebediное озеро. Only people from the post-Soviet countries can understand what is Lebediное озеро. When Soviet Union was broken and in Russia start very serious protests, when Russian government use when it was a Russian putsch and main battle tanks they come in to the Russian government building, on all TVs, all TV channel they turning on Lebediное озеро. Is the Russian ballet. And in Ukraine it doesn't work, because when was Maidan, only free media show all situation what how it was. Yeah, Swan Lake moment. In Ukraine, it will not work because we have a strong free media and strong free journalist. Iris, thanks for the good translation. Swan Lake moment. Yes, it's only post-Soviet civilians understand what they mean, and in Ukraine it will not work because we have a we have a strong journalist, and if some shit will happen it, our media will show it for us. We have a lot of sources for the Telegram channel and other shit. Now it's not previous century. Is the biggest part of this war is the media war, and if we will have success in the media, it's maybe 25% of the victory. Yeah, Brandon, Pozata Hata. I can't wait when you show your food trip from Pozata Hata. Maybe you announce this in the chat for our subscribers. Yeah, Brandon. Iris, you're right, but Swan Lake moments it was a step forward for the Russia, because some Russians understand that government show for them shit, and they just blocked all source of the news, and maybe in start of 19th to the 21st century they have some parody on a free media, and when Putin coming to the start when Putin start to rule of the Russia, they destroy free media again, because they destroy a lot of the channels, and as a result we have that media situation in Russia as we have. But before Putin coming, they have a free media, and Russia had a perspective to be a democratic country, but not with his mental, not with a typical Russian vision of future. For him, it's okay to be a slave. You know, they all his history was a slave. All his military success during imperial army, it was a slave army, because only officers and NCO was a free people. But all his history, Russian was slaves, and for them it doesn't matter. Swan Lake's moment, or other moments. If you just show for them naked ass on a TV when some protest will be in a Moscow, Russian who watch TV just will clap in his hands. It's his mental. I can't say that is said it's his choice. They are too much stupid to do something good with his country, and his opposition is the same shit, because they are a pro-government opposition. I'm just checked some oppositions bloggers from Russia. I'm watched a lot of his broadcasts. I'm watches his films, movies about war in Ukraine, how it started, about Maidan and other, and I understand that they not against Russian government, they not against Russian dictator. They try to be neutral or something like this, and Russian opposition who sitting in Russia, it's not our allied. It's same enemies as a Russian military correspondent, is the same enemy as a Russian government and other shit. You know, good Russian, they fight for Ukraine, you know, in a Legion of the Freedom of Russia, in RDK, Russian Volunteer Corps, in Sibirsky Battalion. But other part of Russia who sit in Russia talk bullshit. Yeah, sometimes they talk bullshit about Russian government. Sometimes they talk bullshit in about Ukraine, but they choose neutral position. For me, neutral position is the same shit if you have no position. And the same enemies for us. I don't support he's trying to be a free, you know, or something like this. Yes, it's too good news about Russian, not about Ukrainian reforms in the armed forces. You know, in the first months, in 9 months of the 2024, Ukrainian Defense Armed Forces Ministry allowed the use of more of than 140 UAV and 33 ground robotic system made it in Ukraine. I mean that Ukrainian High Com give a license for this and we use it. And is the very, very big step in the future, because now we understand how important now UAV, how important now robots. We can use it for the many targets, you know, robots, ground robots we can use for the evacuation, for example, for the do supply, for do the mining or mining or something like this. A lot of targets. And same shit with the UAV, with the drones. And I'm very happy that Ukrainian high coms now understand how it's important. And I'm talking today with my friend from offensive brigade, and he said that they don't buy FPV drones. Brigade give for them FPV drones from the storage, and this FPV drones was made and licensed in Ukraine. It's official drones, and now Ukrainian armed forces can buy drones officially from the Ukrainian makers. And what does it mean? In a close perspective, it's mean that so soon, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not after tomorrow, but so soon we will be independent from the Chinese drones like a Mavic or something like this. Yes, some details coming directly from China and from other countries, because we have no enough technologies for making drones from nothing. But in a close time we will be independent from the Chinese drones and from the Chinese technology, I hope, because if I don't mistake, Europe too have technologies for the making plates and other stuff for the drones, and is the very, very good news, I think. And if between my subscribers we have guys who wanna one moment, technical problem. And I'm sorry. And if between my subscribers I have guys who want to serve in Ukrainian army, who want to fight against Russia, Ukrainian government's making a project of the law, and by this law, foreign volunteers can occupy officers' position. Because before, only sergeant or soldiers. And what is good? For example, Russian Legions Freedom of Russia, yeah, company commanders of this structures of this legion, it's maybe more bigger than battalion or something like this, yes. And at this moment, company commander, battalion commanders can be volunteers from other country, and the same with the Colombian units, same with the units, Ukrainian units with the separate foreign companies, separate foreign platoons, foreign volunteers can be commanders, official commanders, have a commander's salary, have a commander's rank, and it's the very, very good news. It's two step in the future, I think, because that limitation what we had for the foreign volunteers, it was I can't say that it was disrespectful, but now they have a more opportunity and more and more capability as commander. Surely you don't miss about stealing, because it will be little later. I promise that it will be. And this is the very, very good news for the foreign volunteers, because improvement is the some part of the military success in military career. And maybe that guys who will be officers in Ukraine army, they made 5 years. Brandon, by new law, foreigners will hold rank and position. That's why I'm saying that is the good news, because before they can be on only soldiers or sergeants, but thanks for new law projects, foreigners can occupy position. It's not will work tomorrow, but when government agree this, it's make a more opportunity for foreign. But only if you make a contract. Don't forget that we have a couple types of the volunteers unit in Ukraine. Yes, Brandon, you was a pirate volunteers, non-official volunteers, and biggest part of volunteers in Ukraine, it's volunteers like you who don't make a government contract, who don't took benefits from the government. They just do his work. They just fight for Ukraine, and they have not nothing from Ukraine. But if you officially volunteers, you make a you have a green book from the Ukraine from the Ukrainian armed forces, and you have a salary from the Ukrainian armed forces. And now, if you are official volunteer with documents, you can occupy position, some position. Commanders of the armed forces. Brandon Mitchell. What is for the Brandon Mitchell as a commander of the medical service of armed forces? Brandon is the general position, not less than colonel. And yes, and the last news from the uh, news stripe. Wait a moment. And the last news from the news stripe. Human rights activists have found that from the second half of 2021 to June 2024, Belarus took at least 2,219 Ukrainian children from the territories temporarily occupied by the Russia. So at this moment is the very, very big problem for Ukraine, because Russia steal kids from the occupied territory, and I can't explain future of that kids. Some kids go into the Russian families, but I think that is it is the military crime. You know, they just steal kids. Uh, is the kidnapping? They just kidnap his. And human rights activists only in what I see and what we see at this moment, only Ukrainian human rights activists try to do something. Red Cross do nothing, organization do nothing. They just make analytics or something like this. And during exchanges of the during military war prisoners exchanges, we never heard about kids. And I don't know how we will fix this situation, but this situation very, very terrible at this moment. More than 2,000 Ukrainian children. They just try to kidnap our future, because our next generation is the future of Ukraine, and Russians. One of the Russians' directs of the war of the Russian aggression is destroying our generation. As we talked, they try to destroy our culture, our history, and with this in this case with the kids, they try to destroy our next generation. They try to destroy our future. It's really sad. It's the really shitty news, and but I'm happy that Ukrainian organization, they count at this moment. We know names of these kids. We know where these kids, and I hope that in the future we will fix the situation. Yeah, we understand that some kids lose his mothers and fathers, they lose his family, they lose his houses, but in Ukraine they will have more better future than in Russia because it's his homeland. But what's Russian do with the kids? What's Russian do with the civilian people on occupied territory is the really shit. But who will be under judge when it will finish it? Only one official person, that bitch who served for Putin and reported that they help kids from Ukraine, is the shit. In this case involved a lot of occupation, local governments. It's ex-Ukrainian, I think. And I don't know what we will do in the future, but in my opinion, all people who was involved in that shit must be punished. They shouldn't avoid this, and all kids must come back to the Ukraine. Once I saw that streamer. He streamed chat roulette. Chat roulette is the website when you can turn on web camera and chatting by videos with the random people. And I saw one moment where Chechen's man with the blonde hair kid sitting on online, and this guy's asking this Chechen man, "Hey, this boy not looks like a Chechens," and he said, "Yes, this boy was helped in Ukraine." It's for me. I was super fucking angry, really, because they say that they was a help. They was a rescued from Ukraine. Rescued from who? From the occupants who come in my country and destroy it. Yeah, it's the very sad topic for discuss. But I'm happy that our activists they do something. They searching these kids. They know where they are, and I hope that all kids will be returned to Ukraine, to his families, to his houses. And yes, but arrested. Everybody saw this picture. Is the very popular pictures now is the meme in Ukraine. I will try to explain. I will try to give information about these cases, what's going on in Ukraine with that people is the MSEC. MSEC is the Medical Expert Commission, and why these guys from MSEC very rich, as you see on these pictures, but yeah, it's the real money. And I will show you more. Wait a moment. Watch this picture. I think that here enough for the good future, and not only in Ukraine. And this picture, we can see that the women in a medical uniform with the dollars on his table, and the man from the police counting it. And the same pictures in a DBR, in a government investigation bureau. What's going on now, and why these people so rich? I'm trying to explain for you. So in Ukraine we have MSEC. MSEC is the Medical Expert Commission, and by decision of the MSEC you can avoid military service, for example, or leave from military service, all Ukrainian civilian can use function of this bureau MSEC. For example, if you sick or you have some limitation with the health, or if you are disabled is the bad words. Yes, if you man with the limitation, you must come to this bureau, do medical check your health, and they give mark to your health. Yes, and they give a group. They can give a invalids group, first, second, or third. Third groups of invalids in Ukraine is the people with some limitation, but you can work with this group. Second invalids group is the bigger problems with the health. You can't go to service, you cannot be mobilized with this group. For example, you have problem with your heart, with your eye, with your back, with your neck, doesn't matter. It's this group of invalids group, it's mean that you have some problems with your health and you have limitation. And the first group, if you have no, for example, hand, leg, you can't walk or something like that, you can't see, you can't talk. And yes, and now this bureau very popular because people who try to avoid mobilization, they go into the MSEC, give money for them, and MSEC give fake medical documents. And with these fake medical documents, you cannot be mobilized. You can leave from country and you will not be involved in a war. And so many people who have money, they just come, they just pay, they just took fake documents. And thanks for this guy from SEC, we have very bad situation with the mobilization, because these bastards, these doctors who work in that structures, they give opportunity to avoid military service. They give opportunity to illegal living from country, and all that stuff what they do, it's illegal. And now you can understand why they so rich, because to have second invalids group, it's like not less than $10,000 you must pay for avoid army. And for $10,000 they give a paper for you, and you will be a happy civilian. But you, in a real life, you will be a bastard who buy documents and leave from country or something like this. You avoided your constitution rights, not rights. Sorry, your constitution duty, your constitution responsibility. Yes. And thanks for God, government understand how it work, police understand how it work, investigation bureau how it work, how working this corruption scammers, and now they start punishing these fake doctors. I can't say that is the real doctors who made the fake documents for the healthy people with the money. Is the fake doctors with the fake papers. And yes, and now that guys is arrested, they are punished, and all this money what they collected, they will go in a government budget. So I hope that this money will go for the armed forces in Ukraine, for buying more ammunition, for buying more drone and other shit. Yes, and now with this short information, you understand why these guys so rich and why this photo so popular. In whole Ukraine we have arrested process. If I'm not mistake, these guys from Poltava. I don't know, but yesterday they arrested chief of MSEC in Rivne, couple chiefs of MSEC in Kyiv. We have this organization in every districts, in every oblast of Ukraine. and we must understand how many people paid money for this. And yeah, it's corruption. It's very bad. But we must understand who make this corruption. At first, is the people who try to avoid this. They give money for them. Is the same evil, is the same shit. But these guys reach not because they just occupy this position. We have people who go into the crime, who give this money, because uh, if you give a bribe, you you same offender, you same criminal as a guy who take this bribe, and thanks for this guy, for these bastards, now we have a problem with the mobilization, now we have problem with the completion in a combat units, in a combat brigades. Not only thanks for these guys, but these bastards do a very big percent of work for destroying Ukrainian defense potential. Yes, and it was all news for today. Area is fun, and I will come to the Q&A function, and after Q&A I will answer on your comments. Area is fun. Thanks for this. Kim C, what do you think is in the victory plan? It's your question, and now I will give question for you. What's you mean victory plan? Victory plan in general, or victory plan what's higher positions will discuss on a peace summit? For me, it's important, because if you ask about my plan, I have no plan. Is the very if you give me this question, I need not less 1 week for making report about this, because I understand how difficult victory. What is victory for us? What is victory for Ukrainian? Victory is when all territories of Ukraine come back to Ukraine, when all war prisoners from Ukraine come back to Ukraine, where all kids what was kidnapped by Russia will come back to Ukraine. But what is victory? For me, I don't know what is victory. I lose a lot of my mates. I know that a lot of people died during this war. What is victory? If Ukraine will have victory, I will be happy that no more shillings, no more drone attack, no more missile attack. But how price of that victory? We lose a lot of Ukrainian soldiers. We lose of. It's not just a soldiers. It's not a number as for Russian. Is the person. Is the our. It was our future. It was our people. It was my brothers. It was my mates. And I don't know how I explain victory. I don't know how I will live with this information in the future. I will say that so many my mates doesn't see this victory. I don't know how to talk about this. It's the very very populistic question, and I don't want to be a speech like a speech heads who sitting on a media and talking bullshit about victory and other shit. I don't know how it will be. I don't know. Now we are just prisoners of the process. How it will be, I can't explain this really. Because as a result of the victory, we don't come back our friends and brothers from underground. But it's my opinion, and I understand that a lot of my friends, a lot of people who was on the war, who understand what is it, they will support my opinion. But it's not about День Победы, victory days, when we will walking and yelling how we happy that all that shit finished. No, it's not about this. Yeah, I'm sorry. Nikki Hill, are you going to talk about the guy in the pictures with the money? Yeah, I'm talking about him. I'm talking not about him personally, but I'm talking about that guys in a general. It's not only one guys with the money. But that detectives who made this photo, they have a very good feel of humor. Yeah, and it's a very funny photo, very good photo. Yes. Okay, next question. Yeah, I know, Nikki, that you give this question 1 hours ago. Yeah, but I should read your question. Iris, do those foreign volunteers have to be able to speak Ukrainian? Do. I'm so I'm sorry. It's only my opinion. Wait a moment. Note. I'm joking. Not. We have. How? What do you think? How long Colombian volunteers will study Ukrainian language? How long? How long? Spain nature speaker, English nature speaker. No, I'm not checked. Surely, I'm not checked. Uh, I can answer on this question without check because I have experience of working with the 40 volunteers, and no one of my volunteers don't understand Ukrainian language. We have a lot of units where serve that volunteers, and what we have with the situation now, for example, my previous brigade in his battalion, they looking for the interpreter from the Spanish language, and Ukrainian must understand that is the very difficult work to study Ukrainian language. And Ukrainian commanders, Ukrainian curators of that unit, they must understand language of that volunteers. Yeah, but it will be shitty idea when we mix it in one platoon: Italian, Spanish, English, I don't know, Chinese, Japanese, and Korean volunteers. We must understand that situation, and in a biggest part of the volunteers units, they use international language. It's English. Ukrainian must understand language if they work with the volunteers, but volunteers shouldn't understand Ukrainian. Yeah, maybe basic words, maybe basic phrases, because war, it's not, war have so many surprises. And I have one case in my combat experience. I had a group from 8 volunteers, and sometimes I wasn't with these guys on a position. Uh, with them was guys from 24 brigade. My volunteers don't know no one words on the Ukrainian language. They know and they understand only Pidari tam, Pidari tut. As a Brandon in the first days of his serving in Ukraine. And yes, and it's the very, very big problem when Ukrainian don't understand English language. Same with the Spanish. But I think that if you are 40 volunteers, doesn't matter from how country, you must understand that as minimum, you must speak English as minimum. If you will teach, if you will study Ukrainian, good, beautiful, thanks. But all 40 must understand that as minimum they must understand English language. And during service, they will understood basic Ukrainian commands, basic Ukrainian terms. You shouldn't avoid this because today you are working in a with your 40 section, for example. Tomorrow you go in on a position with the Ukrainian guys, and that Ukrainian guys will not understand language. Yes, is the bad for the 40. Is the they more they will took information more difficult, but what we can do with that? Only Ukrainian commanders, only Ukrainian communicated soldiers, signal soldiers one must understand English for give a command for that guys. But language barrier is the very, very big problem on a war. But in this case, if commander of the units complected his battalion, platoon, company by 40 volunteers, he must understand that some guys who will lead this guy must understand English as minimum, as ideal, Spanish, French, German language, Italian, and other. But in a GUR units, they broke this. They talking on English, and it's okay for all volunteers from all countries. But we know that so many Colombians volunteers coming in Ukraine, and Ukrainian army try to complete it by Spanish interpreters. Maybe they bad soldiers, but they make easier communication between Ukrainian commanding and 40 volunteers. I hope I'm answering on your question, Iris. Why Ukraine.com? How are we going to get these kids back? So, for answering on this question, we can only dream. For example, how I'm personally see this. At first, this organization who control that situation, they give reports to the international investigation services, who will come on a Russian territory and just a coming back, investigation, and again investigation. And after this punishment for that people who kidnap, and only after this we just find these people, find these kids, come to these kids, and we will talk with them, we will try to back him. Only thanks for organization, NGO, for the government organization from Europe Union, from the United States, international organization, only they can do it. I think that close 30 years Russian territory for Ukrainians, it will be something недоступне. I think that Ukrainian organization will not have access to them. And we can back these kids only thanks for the international organization. MP, can you maybe explain why the mobilization doesn't last year? Why doesn't? No, mobilization last year working, but you mean 2024? In 2023, mobilization was a little shitty, but when government agree a law about mobilization, yeah, numbers of the mobilized people was increasing. Before this, we have not enough laws for do real mobilization, and at this moment we have not enough because so many ways how we avoid this, and it sounds very sad that some people try to avoid something like this, but when government agrees some laws about mobilization is easier and easier. Now age for mobilization from 25-year old, not from 27 or 28 how it was 2 years ago. And for this people who doesn't join an army at this moment, they have a lot of opportunities to join directly in brigade, for example. And sometimes when we're talking about bad numbers of the result of mobilization, that's why some people just go in directly in brigade. Yeah, I'm just saying that situation with mobilization is the super shitty, but it's not so shitty because a lot of guys who was recruitments by brigade, a lot guys who was a volunteers who joined to the army, and it's number of these guys don't include it in mobilization numbers, but mobilization working for that guys who don't go as a volunteer, who wasn't recruited. And yes, with that guy's situation a little shitty because they tried to avoid. Suffer this. Did you buy ticket for пиріг і батіг у Національній філармонії України? My dears, where is National Philharmonic of Ukraine? And where I am now? I'm sitting in the center of Ukraine, not in a Kiev, in a Kirovohrad region. And for Philharmonia, I need to drive 6 hours by car. No, I don't buy tickets, suffer this. I'm sorry. Not today, sorry. And that was last question, my dears. That was last question. Yeah. Thanks that you are coming on my broadcast. Thanks that you was with me on this broadcast. I hope that this broadcast was a little information for you. Pictures with that guy wasn't clickbait. We talked about this. We discussed it. Thanks, my dears, for attention. Thanks, my dears, who support me. Thanks, sponsors, new sponsors. We have two today. Is the Semivi, is the Jeffrey, and is the Miriam. Thanks. And my dears, if you want to support our channel, more comfortable types for supporting is the not YouTube, because I don't have working YouTube payment is the difficult for me at this moment. Do it by PayPal if you want to support our channel. And tomorrow I will go to the kids and I made a video about this, and you will see. I hope that you will see a smile of the Ukrainian kids. You know, for me important that these kids will understand that we don't forget about them, that we care about them, because in Ukraine now very difficult situation, war in Ukraine, and people, kids should have a childhood, they should have education, they should have a future. And I saw so many comments about that. Hey, war in Ukraine and you make fundraise for the kids, what the fuck, all money for the soldiers. My dears, in my opinion, we have too many guys who try to support army, but less number of guys who try to support just who try to support people who have not enough support from government, from people, from society. And yes, it's again my speech about villages who died, about cities with small budget. It's sad, but it's the real situation. And yes, thanks, my dears, that you joined to that fundraise. Thanks that you are with me. Thanks for support. See ya later, my dears.